We're going to be talking about Settlers of Catan and its expansions. You've probably seen this game. This is the #1 seller on Amazon. It's one of the most popular games in the world, and you're probably already familiar with it. So we're not going to talk about that one in this video. What we're going to talk about is Catan Seafarers, Catan Cities and Knights, Catan Traders of Barbarians, and then the small expansions. Okay, what we have here on the table is the contents of the Seafarers of Catan game. It's actually an expansion. What it is it's going to have scenarios that go with the Settlers of Catan board. So in the box, you're going to get several hexes. These hexes are hexes that are just like the ones that are in Settlers. They're for the islands. You're going to get a whole bunch of water tiles. You're going to get some special gold tiles. You're going to get 4 sets of boats. So like Catan, this is a 3- and 4-player game. You're going to get the scenario guide with the rules. You're going to get some miscellaneous chits and the extra numbers that go on the islands. You're going to get some pieces here that make up the border of the ocean. And it has in here how to build a ship and some extra harbors and such. You also are going to get this little guy here. This is a pirate boat. That works just like the robber but on the ocean. Okay, this is the game rules and the scenario guide for Seafarers of Catan. I'm just going to walk through it real quick just so you can see what it comes with. Here's where it talks about the boats, and to make a boat is actually a sheep and a wood. Here's where they talk about the miscellaneous bits. Here's where they talk about how to use the longest road in the oceans. And then this is where the rules actually stop. Now we're into the scenario guide, and this is one of the things that I found really interesting. I didn't realize when we first started playing it that it came with a bunch of scenarios. I thought it was just an ocean expansion for Catan, but it's not. There's actually a story. There's a voyages that you can follow along the paths. So for every scenario, you're going to get the rules for the scenario as well as the map and how to set up the board. As you can see here, you would input the entire Catan board right in the middle of the game, and then you have a couple of islands on it. And we'll just go through here and you can see what they look like. This one is just several islands. This one is a fog where you're discovering the island as you go. Here's another one through the desert. So this one has a lot of the desert tiles. This one is the Forgotten Tribe, so you can see it gets more complex, and there's things on the different islands, and it looks like there's some event cards here to deal with. So on and so forth. And this one looks like the pirates actually move around the islands. This one is a series of cards. These are new cards, and on here there's a back, so you can cut it out and you can actually use these cards to build things on your island. And here you have the map that goes with this. It's called the Wonders of Catan. And then this is a do-it-yourself New World thing that you can have. And there you go. That's Seafarers of Catan. So this is Cities and Knights. With Seafarers, you actually had an expansion that added onto the game. With Cities and Knights, you are actually expanding on the core game of Settlers, and you're actually changing that game. So what we have here is some different elements that come with it, and I'll go through them. Cities and Knights is going to add some things to the core game, and it's going to take some things away. For example, these 3 cards here, they replace the event cards that come with Catan. So you'll no longer use the event cards, you're going to use these in a tech tree type manner. Also, there's some new resources. You have money, paper, and textiles, and the way these work is when you build a city, instead of getting 2 of the same resource, you now get a rock and money, or you get wood and a paper, or a sheep and a textile. So one of the core features of this game is the cities. The focus of the game is to get to the level of having cities and then expand on those cities. There's a lot of player-to-player conflict as well as cooperative elements as well. You have 4 new things here. 4 players can play. You have knights. In each of these, there's 3 different levels of knights that you can build. You have these 3 squares, and what those are these, each color has 3 squares. These are city walls. Those allow you to enhance your cities. They protect you against the robber. So when the robber comes where the typical hand limit was 7, now if you have 1, it's going to be 9. If you have 2 city walls, it's now 11, and if you have 3, you go up again. You have this little guy. He is a trader, a merchant, so to speak. He enhances the resources that you get at certain levels. You have the barbarians that are now attacking. This is a new element to the game. As you roll the dice, you're also going to roll this dice now, and when a pirate ship comes up, this barbarian boat is going to move along the track, and when it gets to this last spot, that means they attack your island. And that's where the co-op element comes in, because you have to have enough knights on the island that are active to defend against the barbarians. Otherwise, the person with the least amount of knights loses a city. Okay, what you're looking at here is the technology tree, essentially. These are your new player cards. Each player is going to get these, and they flip, so they have different levels to them. On here, it shows you, here's your road, a ship if you're going to build a ship, and settlements. However, there's new things here, like here's your city walls, knights, and then if you wanted to build a market, a town hall, or an abbey, you could enhance your cities. So the way this works is you would build your city, and you would get a textile, a money, or a paper, and you would pay that element, and you would flip this card. You now have this item, you have this die now that you roll, and when you roll it, if you roll the yellow castle and a 1 or a 2 on the red die, you get a tech card. And you have that for each color. So you have yellow, blue, and green. Once you upgrade to the 3rd level, you get a metropolis. There can only be 1 metropolis for each color. So the next player to build to level 3 will take your metropolis, and it'll go away, and it'll go to that person. Then when you build to the 4th one, you get that metropolis back, and it's now yours. And it gives you extra resources on that city. And as you can see, the number of dice that are available to win on the yellow goes up. So therefore you have a better chance of getting technology because you have a bigger city. And here's your die that I was talking about on it. It has the pirate ships for moving the barbarians. You have the yellow, you have blue, and you have green. It's called Cities and Knights. So let's talk about the knights for a second. Like I said, there's 4 different colors of knights. The blue, white, red, and orange. They match the 4 players that are in the core Catan game. So again, this is a 3 and 4 player game. On some of these, you can probably tell there's yellows and there's white. The yellow is the activated side, and the white is the not activated side. The way the knights work is, like I mentioned earlier, they protect the island when the barbarians come along, but there's also the player-to-player combat that can happen. Now, it's not real violence like I'm insinuating, but what it is you can block players from moving. So you can put the knight at an end of a road, and the other players aren't able to build past that. So you can protect areas of your civilization that you're developing, and you can move the knights around, and they can block you from getting robbed and things of that nature. All right, before we close out Cities and Knights, I want to show you the rule book. Notice it says Game Rules and Almanac. Unlike the other games, there's not scenarios and such with this. What you're doing is you have the rules for Cities and Knights. And it uses the core Catan game like it shows here. And like the core Catan rules, it goes for about, there's 11 pages, 13 pages. It shows you all the different kind of cards, that tech tree I was talking about. And then you get here. So on page 14, we hit an almanac. And this almanac is going to cover all the different cards and all the different things that come in the new, with the new stuff that come with the game. So it's just like the Settlers rulebook.